Hello everyone, my name is Robbo and welcome to my first ever solo run of a Pokemon game, which I know is super original, but I thought I'd take a crack at it. So the first one I'm doing is Flareon. I'm actually doing the Eeveelutions back to back to do a little test to see which one can complete the Generation 2 Pokemon games fastest. I'm choosing Crystal just because it's supposed to be, you know, the definitive version of Gen 2. But starting with Flareon, because it should be one of the tougher ones. Just quickly go over the rules. So no items in battle, which means no potions, no antidotes, stuff like that. Held items are fine. I want to emphasise that now before people see me using held items later and going, "You said no items in battle." Held items don't count, and I can use items outside of battle, obviously, to heal up afterwards. I will not be saving before the Elite Four members individually. I'll do the Elite Four in one run, just because if I have to save between them, it kind of shows I need a bit more luck than anything to get through them, and I want to do them in one sweep. I will save before gym leaders, just to make sure that if I do lose, then I can just reset it and I won't get the bonus XP from them. But yeah, I just wanted to lay down those rules to begin with. I won't power level either. I will try to beat these things at the lowest level possible. Obviously, when we get to red, that might prove a bit difficult, but we'll deal with that little problem when we get there. But anyway, let's head off and get our first badge. Alright, so the first port of call is, of course, Violet City and Falconer's Gym. Now, I did go into Sprout Tower and beat two trainers beforehand just to get a little bit more experience, because without them, it's not impossible, but I would be relying heavily on luck, and I want to try and not rely on that too much. So he has a Pidgey and a Pidgeotto. The only thing that really worries me is Mud Slap, because it lowers my accuracy, but Flareon's pretty bulky. He's got a decent health stat, and she's got a massive attack stat, so we can blitz through these pretty easy. And this is where Flareon gets its big first advantage over the others, because of its attack stat, and Tackle does so much damage. So we're obviously missing a few times thanks to that sand attack. I tail whipped a few times just to make it a 2-hit KO. And there we go, first badge under our belt. I get Mud Slap for this as well, which obviously I will teach to Flareon just to give it some cover against any rock types we encounter. And next on our hit list is Bugsy. So this is the gym that I was not afraid of at all. I have a fire type, and the best move Bugsy has is Fury Cutter, so it's really not going to take long to burn these bugs to the ground. This is one that will worry me with a couple of the runs, but with Flareon it's easy. I've actually been doing as few battles as possible as well at this point with Flareon, which it means that we're getting through quicker at the minute, but could be a problem later on when I need XP. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Two bugs down, Kakuna to go, and there it goes. Not a difficult fight at all, but the difficult one is coming up next. Alright, so I've actually got the rival fight first. I'm going to put this here. This is going to be the only rival fight I put into the video, because it's the only rival fight you can really lose with some of these, mainly because obviously he has the water starter, I have a fire type. The thing is, Flareon has fantastic special defense, whereas Croconaw has pretty poor special attacks, so Flareon's not in any real danger, especially when I just throw Mud Slaps out to lower its accuracy. So eventually we'll start missing. There we go, it took two Mud Slaps, but we got a miss. I actually get really bad with accuracy ones later on, against Whitney in particular. Although I don't use Mud Slap much after her, but we take down Croconaw, and Zubat will fall pretty soon afterwards. A pretty tough rival battle, but the real tough fight is coming up next against Whitney, and we all know how difficult she tends to prove, especially in solo runs. So with our rival defeated, we arrive in Goldenrod and take on Whitney. Now this battle took me a few attempts to get through. The Clefairy is no threat at all. Two headbutts take it down easy. It's just random chance what it gets with Metronome. that can be kind of problematic, but usually not. And here's where the threat comes out. Miltank, which obviously goes for rollout. Now I went for headbutt, hoping I was faster, but because I'm not, I'm taking rollouts. And yeah, Miltank deals with me pretty quick on the first run. I reset and go for a round 2. I clear out Clefairy obviously very quickly again. We get to Miltank. I've thrown out Mudslap after Mudslap here, and it just keeps hitting stomps, and I get the flinch. I went for an Ember, hoping for a burn. Didn't happen. Stomp, dead. So, round 3. We take out Clefairy again in 2 hits. It became a running theme at this point. And I wasn't honestly sure how to deal with Miltank. I think I went for Mudslap. Yeah, I went for the accuracy drops again, but keeps going for rollout. It does miss. I go for Ember after this, hoping for the burn. I don't get it. I try again for a burn. I don't get it. I try again for a burn. Instead it uses Milk Drink, which I just love. I just keep going for Embers, hoping for a burn. I get a crit instead, which is nice, but it uses Milk Drink again, and this is why Miltank is so irritating when he used another. I get crits and it gets Milk Drink. It's annoying, but I did get the burn, so I pretty much have it won at that point. I move over onto Headbutt just because I think it'll do a little more damage than Ember. Flareon's attack is just so much better, and Headbutt is a really good move. So Milk Drink just stalls out this fight for so long. I end up going for Tail Whips just so I can try and one-hit it, basically. Because its accuracy is so poor, we're kind of getting away with it. So I got 2 Tail Whips down, and Headbutt is just demolishing it, and we finally deal with Whitney's Miltank this turn. An irritating fight, as I expected, but I think everyone expects Whitney to be irritating, so yeah. She's a bad loser, she cries, but then she gives us the badge, and we head off onto Morty's gym next. Alright, I'll be honest, Morty had me worried. His Pokemon are fast, they have Curse, they have Hypnosis, and they have Dream Eater, and even with my great special defense, I'm worried. Now, we outspeed the Ghastly and the Haunter, I believe, but they're not the threats, it's Gengar. Oh, we actually got put to sleep. I didn't get Cursed though, did I? No, it went for Nightshade. I actually got quite lucky there. If it had gone for Curse, I'd have lost. Just because Curse is so powerful. The Mean Look is nice, because obviously I'm solo running it, so that's a turn for me. It goes for the Hypnosis, and I'm asleep, so a Dream Eater is headed my way. Luckily, Flareon's pretty bulky, so it's not a huge deal. We get a lucky miss as well. I'm throwing out Mud Slaps to try and make it so he doesn't hit me with these things. I get lucky, and we take down Gengar with very few problems, so this gym proved nowhere near as problematic as I assumed. He throws out his second Ghastly, I think, or his second Haunter. But with Gengar down, it's an easy knockout, and yeah, this gym was a lot easier than expected, thanks to Flareon's bulk, more than anything else, and a bit of luck. So, we'll go on to the next badge. Right, so instead of the next badge, I actually go over to do the Rocket Hideout first, simply because I need the XP before going to Chuck. His Poliwrath is pretty scary, so having a Fire type means that I really don't want to have to go in there underleveled, so I go to Rocket Hideout to get the XP off that. Obviously I don't have Fly, so I have to bike down. We head back to Mahogany Town and go in here just to see Lance attack a human being with a Hyper Beam from his Dragonite. Yeah, I'm sure he's totally fine, Lance. Right, so after dealing with Team Rocket in Mahogany Town, I go and battle Price, since he's right here and his Pokemon prove absolutely no threat to me. My return does so much damage at this point. Oh no, I only have Headbutt still at the minute. Oh right, I didn't get return yet. Now I remember. But Headbutt still does a lot of damage, wipes out Seal pretty quick. Dugong will be the same. His best move I think is Headbutt against me, so he really can't do much. And his Piloswine's pretty useless in this generation. If this was the remakes, it would probably be a bit scarier. But in this, he has, yeah, he used Mist. Not a hard gym battle at all, so we can head over to Olivine now. After heading to Olivine and finding out that I need to get a secret potion from Cyanwood, we go to the Cyanwood gym to fight Chuck, who can be pretty tough because of his Poliwrath using Dynamic Punch and him having a very odd chance of hitting it a lot of the time for some reason, considering it's a 50% move. Primate's no trouble at all, it doesn't really know any good moves, and my Return, which I now do have, absolutely demolishes it, so no threat at all. And Poliwrath, oh, it was nearly a one-hit KO, but it's a two-hit KO because it used Mind Reader, so I kind of worried about that gym a bit more than I had to. And the next gym will probably be even easier than this one, so we'll head to that now. Right, so now we're on to Jasmine. So after one easy gym battle, we have another because Jasmine is Steel and we're Fire typed, so we just melt them all with fire attacks. Now, we do get Iron Tail from this gym, which will prove very useful later on, because obviously Flareon struggles against Rock types, and Iron Tail is Steel. Very inaccurate, it's 75% accuracy I think, but beggars can't be choosers, and we need something to deal with Rock types. And Flareon, that's the only option I really have outside of lucking out on Hidden Power, and I ain't trusting that. So, with Jasmine defeated, Professor Elm calls us after this to tell someone is messing with the Goldenrod radio tower. And since it's apparently our job to deal with all evil organisations in the world, we go there and find out we have to battle this guy at the top of the radio tower after defeating a bunch of other Team Rocket moves. He has a bunch of coughings and a wheezing, which all prove to be pretty simple. And once he's defeated, he basically tells us that our princess is in another castle. So we go and save the princess, and then become the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom, I guess, or something like that. I mean, come on guys, it's Gen 2 Team Rocket. Who cares? They're rubbish. They're weak. They're just nothing. They really are a waste of space in Gen 2. So let's get on to something a bit more worthwhile, which is Claire's gym, which is up next. Right, so we're at Claire, and Claire was one who can prove problematic. Her Kingdra is always difficult to take down, especially because I have a Fire type, and that Kingdra has Surf. Now, Flareon's great special defense, but I'm always worried, especially if I get paralyzed. I have terrible paralysis luck, so I have to deal with everything as quick as possible. I'm quite over-leveled at this point, even though I've only been doing minimum battles, really, but you've just seen how much damage a Surf did. So, if that had crit, I'd have been in a lot of trouble. Luckily, it doesn't. I wipe out Kingdra pretty damn easily. And, yeah, we get to basically finish off an even sorer loser than Whitney. So, it was a simple tactic, just return everything to hell. Now, after this, Claire has an overdose of salt and rage quits, and basically makes us go and play a game of 20 questions in the Dragon's Den. So, as per Claire's stupid decision, we go into the Dragon's Den, we meet the Elders, and we basically have to answer all these questions, and it is literally impossible to fail, because if you choose the wrong option, he says, "Excuse me, I didn't quite hear that." Yes, they made it literally impossible to fail, which, to be fair, I suppose makes sense. I just think it would be funny if they made us battle Claire again. But, no, we answer the question and answer right, we finally get the badge we actually earned 5 minutes ago, because she's terrified of Lance. And we've finally got our 8 gym badges, so we can head off to the Pokemon League and fight the real challenge, which is the Elite Four. Alright, so here's where things get real. We're in the Pokemon Elite Four, starting off against Will. Now, Will is basically the main reason I taught Shadow Ball to Flareon. I can deal with these pretty quick. I have gone straight there after, again, doing as few battles as possible. We're walking in at level 51, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure how far we're going to get. My set is Return for the max amount of damage I can do, Ember for just stab, Iron Tail for the rock types in here, and, oh, I haven't taught Iron Tail yet. My bad. Shadow Ball for this. I will teach Return before Bruno, I guess. But Shadow Ball wipes out all of these pretty easily because I have a great attack stat, and if you didn't know, Ghost is physical damage in Gen 2, so Flareon had a big advantage there. So far, time-wise, we're doing pretty well. I'll be honest, this was a scouting run. I'm going to show you all of it just to show you how it goes. But this was a scouting run just to check how we measure up to the Elite Four, and I was pleasantly surprised at how easily Flareon dealt with Will. I expected to beat Will, but I thought I'd actually take some damage, but we didn't. So we're on to Koga next, who was incredibly weak, I think, in Gen 1, and because of that got promoted to being an Elite Four member. I don't get it either, but you know what? Who cares? Let's just ignore that and go for it. Now, I think I hit level 52 in that, didn't I? So I have access to Flamethrower, which means that Ariados, Venomoth, and Fortress will not be a problem. The one that worries me is Crobat, because it has Toxic and Double Team, two things that stacked together really can kill you pretty quick, as the Toxic damage builds up and Double Teams obviously lower your evasion, or increase their evasion. What am I talking about? The rest of his team aren't that bad to deal with. They're either one or two shots, so it's not too bad. Again, Koga wasn't one I was worried about. It was Karen and Lance mostly, as well as Bruno's Onyx, because he has an Onyx in this gen still. Because, you know, he's the fighting Elite Four member, so he has an Onyx. But yeah, Koga and Will were never really the threats. The only real threat was this Crobat, who missed its Toxic, which I was quite grateful for. Even though we'd have won it anyway, I just didn't want to take a Toxic, and a Flamethrower turns this Venomoth into a pile of ashes. So we'll need to heal up, of course, because we did take damage in that one. I will give Koga his credit, we did take damage during that run. Now we're on to Bruno. This is where I teach Iron Tail, I believe, because I do need it. I've got no other way to deal with his Onyx otherwise. So yeah, I have to rely on a 75 base power move, or not base power, accuracy move, which isn't ideal, but again, like I said before, I have no other options for taking down Bruno's Onyx. So I have to go with this. Now he leads with a Hitmontop, which interestingly enough doesn't know a fighting move. Its only attacking move is Dig. Yeah, I don't get it either. Bruno's weird. He was weird in Gen 1 and he's weird here too. At least his Machamp has a better moveset, but we crit Hitmontop. I don't think that mattered, but I'm not going to argue either way. Go for an Iron Tail, and we actually hit, so we wipe out Onyx in one shot, which is good. That was the biggest threat to Flareon in this battle. 2 returns will deal with Machamp, and the same will be true for his next 2. That Rock Slide hurt, to be fair. Oh, he had a Max Potion. I forgot that they pull those out now. But that Rock Slide hurt, and that's kind of an indicator of what I can expect against Aerodactyl when I get to Lance. But everything else has just fallen like dominoes. We did take quite a bit of damage in this one, so that was irritating, I guess. But next one is where I start getting worried. Karen is irritating, because she likes to lower your accuracy and increase her evasion, which she then stacks on top of things like Curse and Stun Spore. Oh, excuse me. It's really just a very irritating Elite Four member in general. She doesn't really do a lot of damage outside of that, and I can 2-hit everything at the very most. I am running low on returns though. So there you go, Umbreon with a Sand Attack. Luckily we don't let it affect us, and we take out Umbreon, which is good because it would have gone for another Sand Attack, and that would have been bad. Here's where Shadow Ball comes in useful again. Shadow Ball has just been such a great move. It always has been, to be honest, regardless of if you got a great attack or not. I accidentally go for a Shadow Ball here against Murkrow, which wasn't what I meant to do at all. And then we miss a Flamethrower, so that was great. And we miss another one. To be fair, if there's one Pokemon I want to miss against, it's Murkrow. 3 in a row, really, with 1 Sand Attack? We finally hit it. Like I say, if I'm going to miss against something, I'd rather miss against that, because it really can't do much. We luckily hit the return on Houndoom. If he'd hit a Crunch, that would have really hurt, so that's good. And obviously Vileplume is no threat either, because we'll just hit it with Flamethrower. And burn it to the ground. So that was a surprisingly easy Karen fight. It would have been even easier if we hadn't been hit with a Sand Attack. So and if I hadn't have botched my first attack against Murkrow. So we're on to Lance. I heal up. I obviously use an Ether, I believe, to restore Return's power points, because that's my best move against Lance. Please tell me I do that. I didn't do that. Okay, I deserve to lose here, to be honest. If I didn't use an Ether to restore my power points... Let's see, I bet I've only got like 5 or 6 left. Yeah, 5. That's not enough. We are able to 2-shot the Gyarados. I went for return because I wasn't expecting to win this, in all honesty. He's put down a Rain Dance, and I know he has Thunder on one of his Dragonites, which is going to hurt. And here's Aerodactyl, who uses Rock Slide, and of course we flinch. I go for another one, he hits for Rock Slide. At this point I know I can't win because we miss. So this is a reset, as I need to go and train, unfortunately. So after battling a bunch of trainers to increase our level that I dodged on the way here, I end up, I believe I'm going in at level 57? 57 or 58, which is 6 levels higher. Yeah, we're 6 levels higher than when we came in last time. Will obviously just be a one-shot again. Koga will be the same. So there's nothing really to talk about here. The strategy is just spam Shadow Ball and Will dies. With Will defeated, we head on to Koga, who, much like Will, doesn't really have a great deal of strategy behind him. It's using the fire moves on his bugs and using return on his non-bugs, basically. Obviously having Flamethrower just makes this a one-shot. Same with Fortress, who will come out next. I'm quite glad that I outspeed him, because I have a feeling that he'd just go for Explosion the second that he comes out, so... We don't want to be dealing with that. We never want to be dealing with exploding Pokemon, because they get a crit on you and you die. It's so common. Like, the amount of times I've died from a crit explosion or a crit self-destruct is unbelievable. It really is. But, yeah, Koga's showing here why he was sort of promoted to Elite Four, you know. He's a quality trainer. He's a quality trainer. Of course, having some of these I mean, why are his Pokemon so low level? This is the problem I have with Johto. Yes, the Elite Four is quite a jump up from the gyms, but I still feel like you could add about another 4 levels onto each of their Pokemon. Maybe not Lance. I feel like Lance is pretty good as he is. Maybe add 2 levels onto his ones. But the others are just really easy to sweep through. As Koga proves here, we're done with him, so we're on to Karen. So I'm hoping for this one to one-shot the Umbreon, because I don't want to be dealing with Sand Attack again. It was really annoying in the last one. Oh no, it's on to Bruno next. Sorry, I forgot about Bruno. Much like Gen 1, everybody forgets about Bruno, because he's just useless in that. I think it's nearly impossible to actually lose to Bruno unless you're doing it deliberately. So, like in our previous attempt at the Elite Four, Bruno will lead with his Hitmontop, which, as I said before, only knows Dig. It's a pretty easy KO for Flareon with Return. Now, the only threat he really has to me is coming out next, which is his Onix. He's only a threat if I miss Iron Tail, which is a 25% chance of happening. Luckily it doesn't, and we wipe out Onix. That's it, he has nothing else threatening, we wipe out everything else pretty easy. I'm not sure if I overleveled or not for Flareon here. The problem is I needed to get to a point where Aerodactyl wouldn't kill me. I knew he'd outspeed regardless unless I power leveled up to like 70. So it needed to be a point where I could take one Rock Slide with the flinch and still be okay to take another one. So that's why we went up to 58. I would go into Lance about 60 odd. 61 I think was what I'd guessed at. So I thought that would be a good enough level to go in against Lance at. That would be 10 levels higher than his best one, I think. Or 11 levels higher. I think his best is a level 50 Dragonite. To be honest, I think we need to report Lance, because he has 3 Dragonites that are all under the level of a Dragonair evolving, so Lance is clearly hacking. But we'll get to Lance in a minute. We're on Karen right now. Problem with Karen is, as I said before, accuracy. We need to wipe out Umbreon in one hit ideally, just so it doesn't Sand Attack us. Unfortunately, we don't quite do it, so we do get hit with a Sand Attack, but we take it out quickly enough. The only thing I'm worried about is Gengar getting a curse off. So as long as we kill Gengar, which we don't, and he curses. That's my luck right there. We hit the next Shadow Ball, but this does mean that I basically have to one-shot the rest of Karen's team. And that doesn't help. Although the one advantage I do have is in Generation 1, 2, I think it's just 1 and 2, if you knock out a Pokemon, you don't take any negative effects. So Poison, Leech Seed, Curse, anything like that. As long as you knock out the Pokemon, you don't take damage from the status affliction. So that's pretty good. Flareon does manage to one-shot everything else. And we're on to Lance again, this time a lot higher leveled. Going in there at level 60, okay. Now, that's not bad. It's just a case of if we can kill that Aerodactyl. I'm not really scared about anything else on Lance's team. Gyarados will always set up a Rain Dance, so I will kill Gyarados without taking damage. I do remember to Ether this time, so we do have more than enough returns to deal with his Gyarados now. Well, not his Gyarados, his whole team. The only problem, like I say, is Aerodactyl. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, he's sending out Gyarados first. Like I say, he always uses Rain Dance, I think. I don't think there's anything that changes his mindset when it comes to that. So expect to see a Rain Dance in the next 5 seconds. Of course, Flareon might one-shot. Not quite, but he does Rain Dance. But we take out Gyarados. The only thing that benefits from Rain Dance now is his Dragonite with Thunder. So here's the deciding factor. He actually misses a Rock Slide and I hit my Iron Tail. And at that point I did let out a mini cheer because I knew I'd beaten Lance. I just needed that one bit of luck to swing my way. Because now we'll just two-shot all of the rest of his Pokemon. I did get paralysed, but I put the Paralysed Cure Berry on as sort of predicting that I would get paralysed. So, again, GG to me. Remember guys, as I said earlier, held items are allowed. We do get paralysed again and hyper beamed. But luckily we get through the paralysis. And he has just got one Charizard and one Dragonite left. Charizard really can't do anything to us, and we hit another return. I get quite lucky with my paralysis luck, which, considering what I said earlier, is hilarious, because I usually have terrible paralysis luck. And Dragonite went for a Safeguard for some reason, which just makes its death even easier. Then an Outrage, so he can't heal, and we are now officially the Pokemon champion of the Johto region. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I thought I would have to power level a bit more. But, to be honest, it's hard to say for sure. If Aerodactyl had hit that Rock Slide, things would have been different. I think Lance would have killed me, without a doubt. And I think I'd have taken another crack at it, because that loss is very... I don't know, it can go one of two ways, and it went in my favour this time. But let's induct Flareon into the Hall of Fame. Well done, Flareon, but our journey isn't over. Next up is Johto, and that will prove to be a big challenge. I'm sorry. Oh, next up, Kanto. Kanto in Gen 2 is a joke. I'm not even going to really go over this much, because it's just Flareon hitting Return or Shadow Ball on basically everything, or occasionally Flamethrower. It's really just a joke. I'll put a montage of the Kanto gym leaders while we do. Until we get to Blue, there's nothing really. I mean, Blaine isn't there. I suppose for a fire type, he's not simple. He's pretty simple, but it's not a straight one-shot, so I suppose we'll say that. Blue is a bit more difficult, and then Red is just hell. But until then, we'll just go over the disappointment that is Kanto. Don't get me wrong, I love that Kanto's in Gen 2, but there's no challenge to it. There's nothing. All the gym leaders are way too low a level. They need to be higher than Lance. And then the problem is, Red is such a huge leap up from Blue. I have no problem with Red being stronger than Blue, but there needs to be a bit of a closer... It needs to be a bit closer than that. You know, he's something like 20 levels behind. You know, make it 10. Make it 10 levels behind. Boost all of the Kanto gym leaders by 10 levels. Because Sabrina was one of the toughest I remember from Gen 1. From playing Pokemon Yellow, I think, because she had really high level Pokemon. And I've just blitzed past her. Misty's next. Blitzed past her. Erica. Janine. Janine is a joke, by the way. We'll talk about her a bit more in a minute. But I do appreciate that they put a second region in there. I just wish that it was stronger. There's not much challenge here to be found other than red. You know, it's cool that they have changed it. They added story, they added more Pokemon here that you could catch. It's cool, I like it, but did that detach from a bit from Johto as well? Maybe, as Johto was a bit easy in places as well. In terms of solo running, I think that Gen 2 is quite difficult in Johto, but only in parts. At parts it's incredibly easy as well. I guess it all depends upon who you're using. Maybe if I use weaker Pokemon, it'll seem a bit different, but Flareon just blitzed through this. I mean, I'm not even using Flamethrower on these, I used Return. Although I'm not sure which would be stronger, because Flareon's attack stat is massive at this point, compared to its special. I wasn't even healing between gyms. That's the thing, I was going through each of these gyms and just running on to the next one to save time. Look how little PP I have on those moves, and I'm that confident. I'm just not healing. I only heal when I'm about to run out of PP for Return, Shadow Ball and Fire or Flamethrower. So when they're all down to nearly 0, that's when I heal. So it's just a joke. Unfortunate, it really is. And here's Janine, daughter of Koga, and you know what they say, like, daughter like father, I guess. She's just I mean, she has level 36 Pokemon. She's not even as strong as the last gym leader in Johto. Why? Seriously, why did these gym leaders be made so weak? It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Like I say, I appreciate them putting the extra badges in, but make all of these Pokemon need to be 10 to 20 levels higher than what they currently are. Level 36 and 39. It's just a joke. It really is. But like I say, I still love Gen 2. I love Gen 2, I'll always love Gen 2. It was where it started for me. Fun fact, on another run I did, because this is technically speaking the second run I've done of Flareon. The first one I did, I basically haven't played Gold and Silver for so long that I didn't know where to go at times, so I kind of, I lost a lot of time by just going the wrong way, so I didn't think that was very fair on Flareon. So I did Flareon again. First time I did Flareon, I actually lost to Brock, because I got too cocky. He, what did he kill me with? I think it was his Omastar that killed me. I just got too cocky. I was actually a level higher as well, which was quite funny. I think going into Brock at level 69 is very apt, really. I think that's quite appropriate, really. Or inappropriate, I suppose. Depends on your mindset. But Brock's defeated. We're off to Blaine next. The Fire Gym Leader. I mean, I can't use Return on this one, so he's kind of harder, I guess. But I just use Shadow Ball. I don't actually one-shot him. That's interesting. I kill him now, but I didn't one-shot him. And now Magmar is... Wow, I just went for Shadow Ball. I really didn't care at this point. We were that far ahead that it really didn't matter what I used. I could just do whatever I wanted. Rapid Dash dead. And now we go back to Blue. Blue's the only one that's a reasonable challenge, I guess. He's in the 50s with all of his Pokemon, which is still not strong enough. 56. It's still not strong enough. He needs to be late 60s, in all honesty. Because Red's weakest Pokemon is level 75, I believe. I think that's it. Snorlax is level 75, I think. Which is 19 levels above the last gym leader. It's ridiculous, really. When you think the strongest Elite Four member was only 10 levels higher than the strongest gym leader in Johto. So, I don't know. I think they did Kanto dirty and then just said, yeah, Red's OP, you know, deal with it. Man, I can remember struggling so hard as a kid to beat Red. And like grinding so much to beat him. with all these cool Pokemon that I love, like Typhlosion, and I actually caught a Larvitar outside of him and trained it up to a Tyranitar to fight him. That's what I thought was the best, in all honesty, but yeah, red's going down, or no, blue's going down, sorry, fairly easy. Flareon's just got such a massive attack stat that she's blowing everything away with a Return, Flamethrower, and Shadow Ball. I think he's only... Is this his last Pokemon? It might be. Oh, and he stalls this out by using a full Restore. Of course he does. It's nice for some people, Blue. You get to use items, I don't. So with Blue defeated, I go and visit Professor Oak so I can get a pass into Mount Silver, and I head up to Red. So this is what we're going in at level 77 after I did some grinding. This was my first shot at Red, because I didn't think I'd do it at 70, so I ground up to 77, so I'll be on a par with his Blastoise, his biggest threat. So I'll go for a Return versus Pikachu. We outspeed Pikachu, which is actually crucial. I need to outspeed Pikachu, or he can't lower my attack, and Espeon can't raise their defense with a Reflect, and that basically kills the run there. And I knew it. Because, obviously, Flareon is a physical attacker, and I can't afford to not be doing full damage. I tried going to Flamethrower, hoping that I wouldn't kill and that he'd heal it, but I killed it. Unfortunately, I'm now against Blastoise, and Return is not going to do anywhere near enough damage. So, it's going to be a very quick death here, as he uses Surf, and that just absolutely annihilates me. So, a lot of things have to happen for me to not lose here. So I go and grind. I beat the Elite Four one more time, come back at level 79, I believe. The only two things, I need to outspeed Pikachu, which I do, and kill it. And I need to either outspeed Espeon, or just make sure it doesn't use Reflect. There's only... If those two things happen, I can win. It used Psychic, I used Shadow Ball, that should one-shot it, and I now have sort of nothing stopping me from hitting Blastoise for max damage. So I hit a Return. It takes 2 returns to kill him because Blastoise is bulky, I'm sure you all know that. But because I only did just over half, he doesn't heal it, and we're going into the Snorlax with almost full health. I actually cheered and jumped up when I did that, because I knew that I had it won. Blastoise was the only threat, which is hilarious really, because of all the battles against Red, I never would have thought that the biggest threat he had would have been his Blastoise. But because of our high attack, Flareon just absolutely annihilates everything else. Snorlax rests, which drags us out a bit longer, but it happens. It'll take 2 more returns. I actually got unlucky because it was a damage range, I think, that didn't kill him last time. But this Flareon fight, it showed that I only needed one thing really to be different from that level 77 fight to win. And that was making sure that Espeon didn't use Reflect. I think I could have done this at level 77. To be honest. As long as I didn't get that Reflect. So Charizard he's got nothing to him, so he's going to die. And he ends up with Venusaur, which is going to get burnt to the ground with Flamethrower. And I end the run at level 80, so that's pretty impressive. So bye-bye Venusaur, Flareon has beaten the game solo, and at level 80, which I'm quite happy with. Ending at level 8 is pretty happy with that. Considering Flareon is considered one of the weakest ones, I'm really happy with that. I didn't honestly think I'd be able to do it that early. I thought I'd need at least another 5 levels in all honesty, but I'm happy with that. So we'll save up here, and Flareon gets a time of 7 hours and 31 minutes. And my game decided to glitch out as I saved, which is hilarious. But yeah, 7 hours and 31 minutes. I'm happy with that. I think that's a pretty good time for Flareon. I think that's a good benchmark for the rest of the Eeveelutions to sort of aim for. Next up I'll be doing Vaporeon. Thank you so much if you've watched through to this point. Please tell me what you thought of this. I know I've cut this down quite a bit for Gen 2. It's only going to clock in at just under 40 minutes or so, I think. So tell me what you think. Do you want it to be longer? Do you want me to talk more about the optional stuff, some of the Team Rocket things, sort of some of the side quest-like parts of Gen 2? Because I'll do it. I just thought I'd cut it down because, like I say, it's going to hit nearly 40 minutes anyway, so... But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you stick around for the next solo run.